Unlike most artists who discover their talents early in life, Glen Cove painter Hallie Schiff took to the canvas only a decade ago.
I was always a very creative kid, but never actually painted, other than in school. After I had my kids, I was working 2 jobs and wasn't really happy. I wasn't really doing anything creative. I decided to go to a psychic and ask her what I'm supposed to do. And she said, well, you need a creative outlet. And I see you painting flower pots or something. So I heard painting, and then I went over to the museum school and I just started taking classes. So I started painting in midlife.
Starting with the landscape, her work soon evolved into paintings about female power and attraction.
And I did a series of high heels and shoes, and that's where I got into this idea of this male-female dominance thing, because the shoes, the high heels, to me, became figures. So 2 shoes could be having some type of a dialogue in my mind. And the same thing when I did lipsticks. This was an idea of female power, and I got into this female idea, and then I wanted to draw the figure, and I painted myself. I thought that was the most interesting thing to do, so I was painting the figure realistically.
To help further understand the figure, Schiff began modeling.
So I started my career as a figure model, an unclothed figure model, and it really helped me think of new ideas of things I wanted to paint or poses I wanted to paint. It really enhanced my being able to paint the figure and get a lot out of it. It was really fun, and I learned a lot. And later, I wanted to abstract the figure. I was more interested in the shape on the side of the canvas where it meets with the curve of the torso. I was more interested in that than the actual figure. So I began to experiment that way, and after a while, the figure kind of wasn't necessary so much in my work, although I still love the idea of the figure, and I can think about the figure, although you don't see it in my work. And I love exploring the idea of a relationship in my work, and you'll never know what that is, and it's not necessary for the viewer to know. I've started to call myself maybe a gestural abstractionist because I use the gesture a lot, and then I'm using my arms and my whole body that way. I like trying to make the paint do different things. I like to have the paint drip. I like to use a lot of medium sometimes and have it almost fall apart. Like to have a lot of paint and have it look like mud. I like to have thin amounts of paint. I like to throw it so it's just like little dribbles. I like to make the paint do a lot of different things, and I love the paint itself. I think it's a very, very sexy medium. I love the way it looks. I love the way it handles, and I love working large because I like to be surrounded as much as possible by the large canvas. I also have been working oils on paper. I just love that conversation with the paint once it's on the canvas, in addition to whatever else is going on and whatever else I might want to try to convey. If the viewer gets some emotional response from looking at my work, that's what I want. Doesn't matter whether it was what I was thinking of or feeling when I painted or not. If my work, people often say your work is so powerful or it's so dramatic. I like that. I like hearing that. I like hearing that someone is affected by my work. I like connecting to somebody through my work. For me, that's important. I like that emotional connection, and that's why I paint, is to connect and also to make sense of my experience of being in the world. It's a way that I organize what has happened to me and what is happening, and it's I feel lucky that I found it, very lucky.
For Push Pause in Glen Cove, this is Eric Alfredo.